Hello, third graders. Today is Monday, April 13th, 2020. I hope you had a great weekend. Be sure if you haven't watched our homeroom video that you watch that now first before you watch this one. This is your to-do list and your lesson for today for literacy. So the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of go through some details of your to-do list, and then I will jump into our lesson. It's really important that you look at the stream to figure out what you need to do for the day and go through those pieces. Last week we talked about figuring out how to organize yourself and do a checklist or make a list or copy this down and cross things off on your list. It's up to you. But I'm having a lot of friends who are forgetting parts and saying that they didn't know about them, and they're all right here in your to-do list, okay? First thing, this is a daily thing that we do, 30 minutes on Amplify. You get to choose which one you do as long as you do it for 30 minutes. Use this timer to help you. It's there for a reason. Your parents should not have to monitor how long you're on there. This is where we show accountability for our learning and we make sure we're doing what we're supposed to. So this week your timer is a bunny race timer. It's going to be the same timer all week long, so I'm only going to show it to you today. And then for the rest of the days, it will just be there. So you could say, I have to do 30 minutes for Amplify. There we go. Okay. And then our next thing, you're going to reread a story from our One Well book. It's called Demands on the Well, and I will read it to you the first time, and your job is to reread it, and then you have some questions to answer. So I talked about this a little bit in homeroom, but one thing I'm noticing is I think some friends are rushing through their multiple choice questions, not quite taking their time. So if you get a 0 on an assignment, what I'll do is create a new one for you that you need to work on Fridays. Okay, so please make sure that you are going through that. Starting this week, I will also have the chat up here for our classroom during my office hours, which today they'll be from 2 to 3. So you can click on it and pop in if you have questions or you're not sure if you did something. You can click on that. It's not really a time for us to chat and hang out, though I do love doing that. It's really more for questions if you have them. So if you were feeling really stuck on this or you didn't understand it, you could come during office hours and ask questions, okay? Then a daily thing, we read on Epic for 20 minutes, okay? I'm going to jump into our lesson from the beginning, okay? So I have here, we have our learning targets. And actually there's just one, so it's just a target. And it is, I can determine the main ideas and supporting details of pages 22 and 23 of One Well. Okay, so what does main idea mean? We've done this so much in our classroom. The main idea is what the story is mostly about or what it's all about, okay? So we ask ourselves, what did I just read about? Look at the title of the pages, look at the pictures. Look for clue words that are used repeatedly that can help give you an idea, oh, that's what this is all about, okay? And then one last strategy is to reread the first and last sentences in the paragraphs to help. All right, so we are learning all about fresh water. Now, one thing I've done with some of your multiple choice quizzes is I will just throw fresh water in there as an answer, even when it doesn't make sense, just to see if you're reading closely, which we know we should be doing. And I did it again today. The main idea is not just fresh water, even though that's what we're learning about. These pages are more specific than that. So this is my way of just kind of quizzing to see if you're reading closely. So these are our 2 pages. What I'll do is I'll read them to you now, and then your job will be to go back and reread them and answer some questions, okay? So it says, take a deep breath so I can read it out. There are 7,3,024,782,000, give or take a few. That's how many people there are on Earth. And that number is growing every day. So there are over 7 billion people in this Earth. More people mean a greater demand for water. But this growing population isn't the only thing putting a strain on our water supplies. The average person today uses about 6 times more water than 100 years ago. A growing population also means we need more space as towns and cities grow to accommodate all these people. They gobble up land, which also affects nearby water. Houses, buildings, and roads sometimes take the place of wetland habitats where animals live. which puts species at risk. They also change the way rainwater, lakes, and streams flow, and the pavement and concrete block water from refilling underground water supplies. There are more of us, and our demand for water at home, in industry, and in agriculture has grown tremendously. But all the water we have is the water we will ever have. There is no more water than there was 100 or even 1,000 or even 10,000 years ago, and there will be no more 100 years from now, when the population may be closer to 10 billion. We need to find a balance between our demands for water and the amount of water that's available for us. Okay? So take a moment, think, what was this whole thing about? Think about your strategies, reading the title, looking at the picture, reading the first sentence and the last sentence, thinking, what was this whole thing about? We have a couple little pieces. It says, while dams make more water available, they also change the flow of rivers and damage habitats. Then we have, by 2025, many experts predict that 1 out of every 4 people will live in a country that is short of water. By 2050, 4 billion people may be living without enough clean water. We need more and more water for crops and livestock in order to feed Earth's growing population. Every day, all the world's livestock, cattle, sheep, pigs, goats, chickens, that's what livestock is, drink the equivalent of more than 160,000 large tanker trucks full of water. Okay? If you need to come back and listen to me read this for your second read, that's totally fine. If you feel like you can read it on your own, in Google Classroom, I will have a material for you that just has these 2 pages. Okay? Zoop. So think, what was this text all about? Your job will be to reread the text and choose the main idea and supporting details. Remember, a supporting detail is a detail that helps prove the main idea, like evidence. So if I say the story was all about rainbows and butterflies, my supporting detail should be proving that it was all about rainbows and butterflies. Okay? So now I'm going to show you in our classwork where this stuff is. So I have the resource page for you. Looks like this. It's just the 2 pages that I read to you for you to reread. And then I have the questions. So I'll show you what the quiz looks like. Okay. Our first one is asking, what's the main idea? And then we have some choices here. What is one supporting detail that helps prove it? There's some multiple choice. And then here is where I need you to make sure that you're going back and reading and finding these supporting details in the text. So you'll write, what is another supporting detail? You're going to find the answer from the text and copy it into the box. So pretend like you're writing in your note catcher in our books at school. Same thing, find another supporting detail. And this is just copying a fact from those pages that you read that proves whatever you selected for the main idea. Okay? And then the last piece, this is a 3-pointer. It says, what is one new fact you learned from these pages? You must write in a complete sentence. And then I even did the sentence starter for you. One new fact I learned was blank. And this is just helping me make sure that you are understanding what you're reading, that we are still writing like 3rd graders with capitals and punctuation and in a complete sentence that makes sense. Remember last week we had a lot of friends for their family interview that did not write in complete sentences and did not use capitals. This would be something that if you didn't do that, I would reassign something new for you to do on Friday. Okay? It's super easy when I start the sentence for you. Okay? So that's your quiz. And that's it for literacy. So I'll go through it one more time. Amplify for 30 minutes. Reread demands on the wall. Answer the questions, going back to the text and using it. Reading on Epic for 20 minutes. So those are your tasks for today. If you have questions, feel free to pop in during my office hours, but remember, those are just for me to help. It is not just chat time, okay? Have a great day. Bye.